Good morning. You're listening to Insurance Matchmaking, your path to health, life, and Medicare coverage with Matt Libby Insurance. And now, sharing his knowledge, here's your host, Matt Libby.
All right, good morning. Welcome back to Insurance Matchmaking. We're still finishing the enrollment season. Last week I talked about it was the last day of the Medicare annual enrollment period, sometimes referred to as open enrollment. Today is the last day to make sure that your health care will be what health care plan you will have on January 1st. It is a deadline day. It is not the final day of open enrollment for the ACA, also known as the Marketplace and also known as Obamacare. But to be sure that what plan you know you're going to have on December 1st, today is the day you need to do that, complete that application. Now, generally, if you are just keeping the plan that you had last year, no major changes in your income or no changes in your family size, you probably already got a letter saying you're going to be re-enrolled. But even so, the letters go out and say, hey, they usually come out, I think, like in October, end of October, or end of September, early October, you'll get a letter saying, time's coming up for you to review and update your application. But generally, if there's no changes, it will automatically re-enroll you in the plan that you're in. So it's not necessary to re-enroll, but if you had a substantial change in your income, I said, or change in your family size, then you should update your application. What I run into a lot of times with folks, sometimes in the middle of the year, they have a slight change in their income that's not really going to, as I say, move the needle much on their advanced premium tax credit. Say, you're probably okay to just wait until the open enrollment, and then we'll update your income then. So if you put off updating your income because you've got more overtime than you expected, or you got to, hopefully most people have gotten a raise over the year, so your income is probably going to be a little bit more next year. It's not a bad idea to go ahead and update that estimate, because the next year when you do your taxes is when you'll realize it. So sometimes I'll get people will contact me around tax time because they filed their taxes and realize they drastically underestimated their income. And so then they've got a tax bill. They thought they were going to get a refund, and they actually end up owing some. And it's not usually a big amount, depending where your income falls. Though, a $5,000 increase in your income probably isn't going to have, like I said, doesn't move the needle much on that tax credit. In fact, I was working with somebody this week and thought it was going to make quite a move. We've moved like different couple estimates of like $10,000. And the $10,000 estimate change in income didn't really change the tax credit that much. It was maybe $20, difference in the premium help. But it did make a big difference on what we call the cost sharing reduction, or what is called the cost sharing reduction, which applies to only the silver plans. So based on your income, you might get some assistance on that silver plan, which reminds me of another situation I've been running into is folks that either aren't getting much cost sharing reduction on that silver plan, or their income is high enough they don't get any extra assistance for silver plans, and would have to pay the full deductible, full out of pocket for that silver. The gold plans are probably a better option. It's surprising. I used to talk people out of doing gold plans because they were just paying a huge amount of extra premium to have a lower deductible and some lower co-pays. But if you added up how much you were spending per month, 1 month's increase probably was more than the co-pays that you're going to pay all year. And again, I always say, you're basically not going to hit the deductible. You're not going to hit your deductible if you're not getting a cost-sharing reduction. I'm going to qualify that. If you're paying the standard deductible on any bronze, silver, or gold plan, you're not going to meet that deductible going to the doctor a couple times during the year. And a lot of times, about the only way you're going to meet the deductible is something lands you in the hospital, or you have to have a surgery, something along those lines. Then you might hit that maximum out of pocket. And I always try to point out that the difference between the bronze plan and the silver plan, if you're not getting the cost sharing reduction, is you're buying down the deductible. That's virtually about the only difference between those plans. The copays may be a little bit less, but the plans are structured pretty much about the same. And if it's you're going to pay a couple $100 more to save $3,000 on a deductible, you can $50 to $75 put in a supplemental plan that will reimburse you for a hospital stay or a surgery, or you have an accident, or if you get cancer. There's different plans, and some of them do different things. So those are things to go over with your agent. Like I said, it doesn't have to be me, and it doesn't have to be my office. If you have a local agent that's helping you with your health insurance, check with them about ancillary or supplemental plans, like what we call the hospital indemnity plans or an accident plan. Some companies have plans, they call them plan enhancer or gap plans, down payment reimbursements. There's just several different plans out there, and it's for a lot less money than paying more to have a lower deductible that you're never going to reach anyway. So that's why I'm saying it's not worth paying an extra $200 to have a lower deductible when you're not even going to come close to that lower deductible anyway. Because most of the plans, the way they're set up is you're going to have a copay for the doctor, you'll have a copay for a specialist, usually at least generic drugs. Now, some plans you have to meet a deductible before they will cover the brand name prescriptions, and some of them you have to meet a separate deductible before that starts covering the prescription. So it just depends, because some of the plans out there will have like a zero health deductible and some higher copays, but you don't have to worry about the meeting the deductible before you have a surgery or an MRI, things like that. But they'll have a separate deductible for the drug coverage. So those are some things, and that's what we help with. As I mentioned, today is the deadline to assure you that you're going to have a January 1st start date on your health plan. So that's something you give us a call. I'm not sure how long I'm going to work today, but probably not very long. It just depends. Again, as I said last week with the Medicare, it's kind of like on the elections. If somebody's in line, I'm going to take care of them. But if nobody's calling me, I'm not going to just sit at the office on a Saturday and wait for a phone call. So if you're going to be proactive, want some help, contact us soon. Now, the other thing on that, I keep saying guaranteed to get it on January 1st. There's some other reasons you might still be able to get your health insurance in place for January 1st. We do have what's called special enrollment periods. Some of the plans went away. So if your plan's no longer going to be offered next year, then you can still get a special enrollment to enroll by January 1st. The other is you didn't get on the marketplace, but you just lost your coverage because you changed jobs, or you're changing jobs on the 1st of January, and you'll lose that coverage. Those are special circumstances that will give you that special enrollment period, and we could probably still get you a plan for January 1st. The other part on that is the open enrollment does not end until January 15th. So the only thing that changes is if you're using open enrollment and you don't get it done before December 15th, any plan change you make won't take effect until February 1st. And so you have the 16th of December to January 15th to get that done, but that will also hit for February 1st. But like I said, if you're losing coverage, or you just got married, you had a child born in December, those things are life-changing events, and you can do your application and get it in before then. So those are some ways you might get something and still be effective January 1st. I talked about it last week. I don't want to talk too much on it, but that's the same thing. The Medicare plans, it starts with the Medicare Advantage, but it's not just Medicare Advantage. Because of Hurricane Helene, we do have a disaster special enrollment period here in Tennessee. So if you didn't make a change during the annual election period that just ended on the 7th, you can use that disaster period to say, because of dealing with, and you don't have to say it, but that's the premise, is you weren't able to get it done during the annual enrollment. You can still use that and still get something changed for just January 1st. The other thing, again, if you have a Medicare Advantage, and this only affects those people who have a Medicare Advantage plan. If you have a Plan G Medicare supplement and a separate drug plan, This other period I've mentioned before, the open enrollment period, the Medicare Advantage open enrollment period from January 1st to March 31st, it only applies to someone who currently has a Medicare Advantage plan, and you can make a change in that 3-month period, but you can only make one change. So if you make a change in January, it'll take effect in February. You don't get a do-over and change your mind again in February for March. So it's a one-time thing. And it's kind of confusing because it's kind of like that's really what we just did in the annual election period. But during that time, we can submit an application in every day to change your plan. And the last one that got in on February 7th, December 7th is the one that goes in on January 1st. So, well, I don't know. I woke up early this morning. I guess my brain is not catching up. So that was the things I wanted to talk about the open enrollment. The other thing is I always get calls about ID cards, and this applies to the under 65 ACA plans and to the Medicare plans. Don't panic if you don't have your card yet. When it comes to the Medicare cards, I always tell people look for it around Christmas. What they do is December 7th was the deadline. Some plans will wait until after the 7th before they start the process of sending out new member cards because of that rule where you could have changed your mind the next day and got another plan, but it's already in their process, so they don't want to mail out cards that aren't going to be used. So they do try to manage that. The other is with the under 65, the ACA plans, most of the companies are not sending, they're not automatically sending a card. They want you to go onto your, set up an online portal with them and download it as an app on your phone. And I encourage you to do that regardless if you want an actual plastic card in your wallet, is go ahead and download that app on your phone. You have it handy. It's kind of like, hey, do that with your car insurance too, because if you ever get pulled over, instead of trying to look for your glove box, you're easier to find your phone and find that app on your phone. But if you do want that plastic card like you've always had, you have to either go online on your online portal and order one there, or contact that carrier's customer service and request that card from them. Unfortunately, that is something they will not let our office do. I don't know why we can't request that for you. Bree actually had called in on one, just wanted to see, can you tell me, what day it was sent out? And they wouldn't even tell her that. So you're not authorized that information. Which in the past I've asked for, about ID cards, and that it was mailed yesterday. I don't know why they've changed the rule on that, because I don't see where there's any HIPAA there. You're calling in as the agent, and you have all their information. Telling you when the card was mailed should not be a security thing, but for whatever reason it was. So just so you know, if you call and ask for help on that, we're not trying to put you off just because we don't want to call the insurance company, which we don't, but that's not why we're saying that you have to call and do it. They're just not letting us do it. So I'm up on the break here and got some more things to cover here when we come back.
On the 12th day of Christmas, Twin Lakes gave to me. Twin Lakes is celebrating their customers this holiday season with the Twin Lakes 12 Days of Giving Christmas Giveaway. Now through December 18th, visit them online at twinlakes.net to get your name in the bag. There will be over 75 winners with names drawn every day. To increase your chances of winning, revisit and enter every day. Winners will be announced on the Twin Lakes Facebook page. Learn more at twinlakes.net.
This holiday season, Habitat for Humanity's Restores are here to help you get your home ready for the festivities. Whether you're decking the halls or searching for the perfect gifts, our restores have everything you need, from furniture and home decor to building materials, all at incredible prices. And don't miss our special event on December 21st. Bring the kids out to meet the Grinch himself from 10 a.m. to noon. It's the perfect way to make lasting memories and share a little holiday mischief. Habitat Restore off South Jefferson Avenue in Cookeville.
And now, back to Insurance Matchmaking with Matt Libby Insurance.
All right, welcome back. As I was talking about before the break, talking about the different SEPs, you have the disaster SEP for the Medicare plans, and then we and loss of coverage, especially again, this affected the Medicare more than our health plans, was the loss of coverage. That plan no longer exists. Under the ACA, it's not really so much in our immediate listening area, but if somebody's listening online and they live in a area where, and I don't usually like to say company names, but Blue Cross had what they call their L network in the areas they're calling it e-network throughout the state now, that special network. And it's a smaller network. So if you're signing yourself up, double check, make sure your doctors are in network before if you have availability for the e-network. It's not everybody takes Blue Cross, but not that one. That one is a limited network. It's designed for high population areas where they have a high volume of patients. So the medical systems, the hospitals and the doctor systems will accept a lower reimbursement rate because they're going to see more patients. So it doesn't work if you live outside of the downtown, especially mainly the Knoxville area, but also Nashville, Murfreesboro. If you're out, you may be considered part of those metro marketing areas for your health plans, but you're not right there in the city, but you do have those plans. You're considered part of that market. So you got to be careful on that. Double check with us. I meant to mention this in the first half of the show. Again, we do not charge for our services. We get paid by the insurance companies when we recommend that you take their plans. So you don't have to go on your own. Give us a call. We can help. Sometimes. Now, the big thing on that, though, is we are going to send the thing asking you to sign the sheet that gives us the consent, or if we're talking to you on a recorded line, we can get you, But you can also, and actually it's kind of simple, you can text or email that you're giving that authorization also, because you know that it's just a matter of there's been a lot of bad actors out there that have got people to call in for things that they had nothing to do with health insurance, some of them, and then find out their health insurance got changed because they gave the person their name, their birth date, and their address, and they were able to change their plans. They've cracked down on that, made it a little harder for that to be done, and so hopefully, we've got that taken. But we do have to have consent to access your Marketplace account to verify it. Because I've had people go, I did it, but I don't think I did it right, and I go back through and realize they answered a question wrong. Some of it is because the question will ask, "Are you working this month?" And they'll answer no, and not realizing that, so now they're saying their income is zero for the year. They don't qualify for tax credit because they have no income, versus, that they had worked for the whole year, because this is when, especially when we're doing stuff like in the middle of the year, you have to count the entire year's income. Or you're starting a new job, next week or next month, and what your pay is going to be, but currently this month you're not working. And so they'll mark that they're not working. Well, it comes back to they're unemployed and they don't have income to base that tax credit on. So some of those little things like that as agents we know, yes, that's not quite if you were taking a true-false test, it would be the wrong answer, but the right answer, when it says, do you have income this month, you mark yes, and then you mark down that you're going to make so much a year or so much a month, and you put that number down and it calculates. Because if you put, if you're working and it's been your steady job and you're making $15 an hour, working 40 hours a week, it will do the math for you when you put that in. But if you're not working until next month, you put it in, you don't have any income this month, and it doesn't calculate it. Same thing with Social Security. Some people know they're going to start their Social Security, say, in February or March, and so it's not going to be the same each month. You could put it in as monthly income. That would estimate your income a little higher. And then when you file your income tax the following year, then you would get some back because you overestimated your income. But generally, a lot of times, that couple months of Social Security can make a big difference between what your premium is and what that cost sharing reduction is, and it behooves you to go ahead and estimate your income just a little bit lower to keep your monthly costs down. But I also have people that prefer to overestimate, and that's another situation happened. In fact, just did one yesterday that based on the income, the individual is going to get like $28 a month tax credit. But the good news there is, as long as you file that you want to see if you can get help paying, when you file your income tax, you've put that in and you can get it, and maybe your income ends up being less than you estimated, and so you can get some money off your taxes or some money back in a refund. But if you just say, no, I don't want to check for savings, you can't go back at tax time and go, oh, my income ended up being less, I want to tax credit. So it's very important to go ahead and say you're looking for it, even if it comes back and says you don't qualify. it will make difference when you file your tax a year later. So that's something to look at on that. Good news for those that are been waiting to hear somebody than just me. I do have some guests lined up coming up, so there's going to be some shows here where it's not just me. It's just been this time of year. It's been hard to get some folks in, and I've been so busy that not had the time to really follow up and say, and kind of pressure people to say, yep, okay, we'll come on the show. So I did want to let you know that I do have some guests coming up, and we'll do our best to get some good information out there. As I've mentioned before, if you have a nonprofit or even just a business that may not even necessarily be insurance related, I can relate anything to insurance. But if you'd like to be on the show, go to my website. There's a link to how you book an appointment with me, and there's also a link there to schedule a time to be on the radio. So we record these shows every week, so it's a set time when we meet on that, and then it generally airs that following Saturday. If you think you've got something you'd like to share, and again, you can be a business person, but you have a nonprofit that you're very passionate about, and you'd like to get the word out on that. We can talk about those things. The other thing I've mentioned several times, being a veteran myself, I like to get veterans and veteran-owned businesses on here, just to. I figure most of the people that are listening on this radio station, they're going to want to support our military. So let's get you out there. Let's get people hearing about you. We are scheduling our welcome to Medicare workshops. Started working on getting those schedules, getting some confirmed dates. Right now for Cookeville, it will be the last Monday of January and February. Those will be the evenings. Those will be at 6 p.m. Usually takes maybe an hour and a half to go through everything. And again, just that depends on how many questions everybody has. I can finish in less than an hour, but there's usually questions, and we do a question and answer period at the end. We have to be out of the library by 7:30. Utilizing the room, they want us out a half hour before their closing time. So generally we're done by 7:30. So it's not a late evening. And then the other is I'm also doing the Cumberland Business Incubator. So that one will be, we do those on Thursday evenings, and I don't have the dates right in front. I meant to write that down before I came in. The 23rd, I can't remember, it's January 23rd or February 23rd. One of them is on the 23rd. And then the other, or actually I think we have the 13th of January and the 23rd of February will be those days at Cumberland Business Incubator. And again, we've got time. It's going to go out in my newsletter. It's going to be on the website, and then people will also get postcards. If you're turning 65 here in the next few months, expect to get a postcard from me, letting inviting you to one of the workshops. There's no obligation when you come to the Welcome to Medicare. There's no sales. It's an educational event. And when I do those Thursday evenings at Cumberland Business Incubator, and in the Monday evenings there at Cookeville Library, the Putnam County Library here in Cookeville, I do a 2:00 session at my office. And that's strictly, it's for my convenience, but it's also for your convenience. Maybe you can't make that evening one, but you've got some time during the day. And also, sometimes we got grandparents who are picking up grandkids from school. You come in at 2. If you don't have to be there till after 3, you'll make it just fine, and then you don't have to do your evening, and you can you be there, or you just need to get home because the kid's coming home from school. Some of those things like that 2:00 at the office can work really well. So that's just an added time. It works great because if I don't have anybody registered, because even if I don't have somebody registered at the public locations, people can't show up without registering. So I have to show up even if somebody didn't pre-register. When I do it at my office, I'm already there. It's just a matter of turning on the TV and starting the PowerPoint on that TV at the office. So those are very convenient for me, and I'm probably going to do more of those at my office. I'm hoping to do a few more like webinars after the first of the year. So those will be also. I want to get one set up that's pre-recorded, and I can just if they just got questions, I could just send them the link to the video. But we'll also do some and do some other topics, and that's one of the things I've asked for. You can go to the insurancematchmaking.com website, and there's a box on there for comments, and you can put in comments or ask questions to be on about the show, or or ask me to cover on the show. You can also submit a recommendation for somebody maybe you think should be a guest, and send me their name, maybe send me their email, and I can send them or text, and I can send them the link to schedule a time. I've got it set up so it matches my calendar. It's an open slot, and as soon as if somebody picks a date, that date won't show up as available on that booking calendar. So if it shows it's available, I don't have anybody booked that day. Hopefully, things can come up. I might have to contact somebody and, gee, thanks for setting up this week, but I'm not going to be able to do that. Let's go ahead and schedule another time and do that. But love to get guests on the show. I know some people maybe get tired of just hearing my voice, so love to have a chance to be able to talk. The other thing I wanted to cover real quick, and of course it's all in the news now, hopefully it's going to die down a little bit, but the assassination of the United Healthcare CEO. I've had clients that actually called and said, well, should I change my plan because they're getting negative press because, they're a big corporation. They're going to have negative press. There's going to be negative reviews online. United Health Group is the largest health insurance carrier in the U.S. They are a Fortune, last time I checked, they're a Fortune 5 company of the Fortune 500. So they're a very strong, sound company. What happened was terrible. It's not going to have a big effect on your insurance, and a lot of the information of how terrible their insurance is, also that a lot of that stuff is very blown out of proportion. So I'm not here to try to defend United Healthcare. What happened to the CEO, that was a murder. Whether somebody thought he was wrong by that company or not, that didn't give him the right to kill the man, and I don't want to dwell on that, but that's kind of where that's at. But no, you don't need to change your insurance. So looks like I'm running out of time here, so I should be back on before Christmas, so I won't wish you Merry Christmas just yet. But just remember, at Matt Libby Insurance, we can cover you head to toe. It doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. And we'll talk to you next week.
You've been listening to Insurance Matchmaking with Matt Libby, your path to health, life, and Medicare coverage with Matt Libby Insurance.